focusing on the female students. We actually have 6 or 7 students joining us, and they're going to talk about their experience getting into cybersecurity, getting into the Ncl games, what challenges they've had, and we're asking them for any advice they might have for our coaches. So I encourage you all to jump in at any time and ask questions so that we can make this as useful as possible. Also, so that'll be going for the next probably half hour to 45 minutes. And then we'll be talking about the steps for incorporating Ncl as labs in the fall. We started this discussion last time. I think we have a little bit more to talk about there. And then finally, we'll begin a conversation about logistics, essentially purchase orders and bulk purchases for the fall. So watch for that. Whoops. So I do want to highlight the fact that Ncl is really focused on diversity, minority groups, as well as women. You know, really trying to encourage that from early on for women and minority groups to aspire to be cybersecurity professionals and do whatever we can to help them to do that. We also have established a coaches committee, and we'll be talking through some activities and some actual you know, strategies for encouraging that. But I also encourage all of you to join the Slack. We have a Slack channel, and you can provide us with feedback or suggestions or examples of what has worked for you. But this is a stat which is actually on the Ncl website, and it shows the female component at about 23.2% currently. We also have an age group, you know, view, which is kind of interesting, not just from the point of view of the ages, you know, the big bar chart in the middle, which shows the 21 to 22, but the early on, you know, 13 to 15 age group and the later group, the 45 plus. And then you'll see the other minority groups that we do want to focus on as well. So this gives you a bit more of a view of how females have performed or actually have joined Ncl in the past. Since the fall of 2017, you can see the progression, the orange, from 296 females joining out of 1703 to currently in the spring, 764. The high point was in the fall, but we also dropped in terms of numbers of players, total numbers of players, and we think that a lot of that may be attributable to COVID. But if you look at the percentages, you know, again, in the fall of last year, 24.4%, which is arguably around the national average. The national average, I've seen various different opinions on that. And it generally falls between 20% to 25% females in the cybersecurity workforce. So it's hovering around there. We want to really improve that picture. We're looking to improve it to be, you know, 40%. Why not? 50%. Why not? So we really encourage you to provide, you know, input to this process and help us to make that happen. So with that, let me introduce to you an amazing array of guests today. So let me start out by asking our Ncl Players Committee. We've established an Ncl Players Committee. So the chair of that is Meredith Casper. I think she's on the call today. Meredith, are you there?
I'm here.
Excellent. So Meredith, why don't you perhaps give a little bit of introduction to your own path to joining Ncl, playing the games, and what the vision is for how we can help female students and encourage them. And then we'll move on to the main agenda with these female students who are actually going to talk about it.
Sure. So I have been around the National Cyber League both as a player in the games and as an ambassador, now chair of the Players Committee, since December of 2015 or November, when I played my first NCL games, which I think is at the edge of predating Cyber Skyline, because I recall one competition, I believe, without them. And it was a welcome improvement as somebody very new to cybersecurity games. And when I first started, there was only one other female I knew in the cybersecurity major at my college, as well as two other colleges around who we frequently met up with. And they were some of the people who gave us the idea of, use the National Cyber League to learn a good foundation. If you find something there you want to specialize in, great. If you discover you want to be a generalist, great. But that is where I truly started with National Cyber League. And I'm so sorry, Holly. I've been up since 4 a.m. What were the rest of the talking points?
So I guess just talking about any challenges and then talking about a vision for how we can encourage female players.
Okay. So as I said, I've been around for quite some time, and I know that when, you see that stereotypical cybersecurity person in media, it is normally male in a hoodie, sitting behind a desk away from people, banging away at the keyboard, and nobody ever thinks to look at the females in the room. And I discovered that very interestingly and learned a bit of why I understand a bit why so many people are hesitant to join cybersecurity, or people do leave, is because when that is expected to be the norm, some people are not used to seeing a female or somebody who doesn't look like them in the room with them, sharing the same ideas, striving for the same goals, wanting to learn the same things, and it's automatically assumed that you are less than or you don't know what you're doing. And I spent 4 years doing CCBC, where every time somebody walked into that room, it was automatically assumed that I was there for business or to fill a seat, not that I was one of the technical leads, not that I was the captain. It was just assumed that, oh, female, you must know nothing. And the nice thing about NCL is you're behind a screen. There's no camera required. There's no human interaction that is required. Of course, you hang out in the Slack and you make some great friends, but nobody ever has to know your gender. They get to see a picture of who you are, what you want to learn, the skills you bring to the table if you're joining in on this team. And then they can see you for you instead of you for an identifier that automatically places a stigma on you. And as Holly showed in that previous graph, I love to see that those numbers are climbing. In my job, I'm the only female in, I believe it's at 3 departments now. And it's heartbreaking to see people still hesitant to join the field because they're afraid of being judged by their male counterparts or automatically being assumed as less than because, well, the guys must have been in the field longer. They've known what they wanted to do longer. And that's about it.
Great. Thank you so much, Meredith. And let me check and find out whether Terry Johnson is on the call. Looks like you are, Terry.
I am. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. So why don't we start with you and the people that you introduced us to, and maybe just give an introduction to what your experience has been, bringing these students in.
Sure. So my name is Terry Johnson, and I'm from Pikes Peak Community College in Colorado Springs. We've been playing NCL since its inception. So I think somewhere in the 2017, 2018 timeframe. And we definitely have seen a trend of very much male players. This year, we had an amazing female player named Abisa, who is on this call as well. And she has a couple of colleagues that she was on a team with, and they're looking forward to talking about their experiences. I know in my industry life previous to teaching here at Pikes Peak Community College, I was in the computer networking and cybersecurity side, and always the only female in the room. And so definitely have a passion for trying to get more female players, more female representation in industry. So thank you, Tali, for having this initiative.
Thank you so much. And why don't we get your three folks, and I guess they're not on this, or are they on the same team? Yes.
They played on the same team. I'll let Abisa speak to that a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah. And while you're doing that, let me just jump to the next slide and just tell you this is what we have planned in terms of what we'd like for you to talk about, what got you interested in cybersecurity and in the NCL games in particular. What other competitions have you tried? What challenges did you encounter along the way? Was NCL integrated in your classwork? And then advice for instructors and coaches, and what are your future career goals? I know that's a lot, so don't feel like you have to stick to the format exactly, but just to give you ideas about what to talk about.
Hello, so my name is Abisa Dundas. I'm a student at Pikes Peak Community College. I'm on my third semester for my associates in cybersecurity. What got me interested in cybersecurity or in NCL would be, well, cybersecurity, it was just, I like social engineering a lot. And I have a kid, so his safety was a big deal for me. So my husband is in physical security, so I wanted to tackle cybersecurity so we could be a great team together. As far as NCL, it was, I've only competed for one season, which was spring. And I would give credit to definitely my professor, my networking security professor, April Frost. She was the one that initially introduced me to it and told me all about it and encouraged me to at least try. I was very nervous because it was only my second semester in cyber, so I didn't feel like I would know enough. And I feel like her guiding me and kind of just like easing my mind and telling me that it was for everybody. You didn't have to be highly qualified to compete, kind of like really got me to actually like step in and try it. Other competitions, I kind of just do the lab zone try hack me like by myself, but really that's just for practice. I haven't really done any competitions yet other than NCL. Challenges that I encountered along the way, I would say was definitely not because of COVID and having everything be online, not meeting people in my field in person. Because when I started, everything has been online. So it's not like I could talk to other students and ask them if they know about NCL. Are they playing in the NCL? Would they like to be in a team with me, or if they have a team already? So I feel like that was a big challenge for me, and just being shy and scared that I wouldn't fit in, because unfortunately I had never heard of NCL before. NCL was integrated in my classwork. I would say they kind of like help each other out. There was definitely things that I had learned in my classes that helped on NCL. And then there's definitely things that I learned on NCL that are now helping me in my classes too. So it wasn't necessarily that we got taught that this is like an NCL course, but we definitely covered the same material. So it's been very helpful. My advice for instructors and coaches, I would say just encourage students and make it very clear, because like I said, for me, the most helpful was my professor assuring me that you did not have to have skills. Like the gym would be helpful, talk about the gym and how the examples that they use and how helpful it is. I feel like that was the biggest one for me. Another one thankfully at my school, we have a cyber club, and that was also a big helpful like tool for me because I got to meet other people that we got to compete together and talk about like different things NCL related at the times that we are only allowed to speak on it. But definitely clubs and just encouraging your students and speaking more about it, even for like the chairs in different schools, specifically like telling their other professors to talk about it in their classes, even if it just takes like a 1-minute presentation to bring it up. But yeah, I would say, and then my future goals for now, I'd like to get my bachelor's degree, but I haven't really decided in which route of cyber I want to enter yet. So that's still up in the air. Probably pen testing, if anything, for now.
Congratulations. Wonderful. That's a wonderful story. Who's up next? Let's see. Michelle?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. My name is Ncl Kuralt, and I actually live in a different part of the country than Avisa. I'm in Columbus, Georgia, at Columbus State University. I'm an unusual person, according to a lot of your demographic statistics. I'm a 38-year-old second career shifting person. I'm an attorney, and decided cybersecurity was the direction that I actually wanted to go in. So I'm still practicing law, but I'm also in school with a cybersecurity management program. And I'm also, well, I'm unusual on many levels. I do have a physical disability, and because of that, online sorts of things, that's the direction that I definitely need to go in. And so I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to get experience, since going places is a little bit more difficult for me. So the virtual aspect of it, that was wonderful. Other competitions that, okay. So I learned about NCL on LinkedIn, actually. I just saw a little blurb about it and clicked on it, and it sounded interesting, and I ended up signing up and went from there. It's my first competition. I had seen information about other competitions, but I had found the little blurbs that I had seen about them really intimidating. I have a ton of CompTIA certifications, but despite having all of that knowledge, I just never felt like I knew enough to participate in some of these other competitions. But I appreciated how NCL made it clear that you had the gym, so you could learn stuff. There's the anonymity factor, so if I try and fail, nobody's gonna know. And there were even some blog posts that I had seen that were pointing out that the trial and error process is a great part of the experience. And I definitely learned a lot just through the competition. I have not tried other competitions. I didn't really encounter any challenges with NCL itself. I was a little frustrated that my school wasn't supportive. We don't have a coach. Nobody else at my school was competing. So I was completely on my own, hoping for the best. And so it was just, it was wonderful that I met Avisa and some other folks just randomly being matched as a team, and it worked out. And our team did extraordinarily well. And I'm very, very pleased with that. And I like the anonymity aspect to the program. This is actually the first time that I am seeing Avisa, even though we were on a team together and we worked well together, but it's nice to see you. So hi. NCL definitely was not incorporated with my coursework. Advice for instructors and coaches, just encourage folks to give it a try. It's okay if you don't know everything or anything at all. I feel like NCL is the best competition that I've seen out there for a person who's interested, who just wants to get their feet wet. It's a great first competition, because I've looked at some of the other ones out there and they just seem, yeah, they might say that they're for beginners, but they really expect you to know far more than you need to know as a point of entry with this competition. So I am very much applauding NCL. I definitely had a wonderful experience, met a lot of great people. Some great things about it was the opportunity to meet other people. It was fun, it was challenging. I loved being able to use my brain in ways that I haven't gotten to use in a while. So that was wonderful. And it was, I liked the safety aspect of it, that I can safely do these things, but then there were plenty of safeguards where I didn't have to worry about actually breaking anybody's programs or anything. I was a little concerned about that. So that was very nice. And future career goals, I would very much like to have my first job in cybersecurity. I am in my third semester, and I'm trying to get as much experience as I can. So I'm looking at cyber law, cyber policy, compliance, risk management, things of that nature. But I'm pretty much open to whatever comes, especially if it's work from home, virtual sorts of jobs. I really like working from home. I've discovered that as have most people across the country, it seems.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing your story, and very touching. And I think we have Jen from the same team. Jen Lake.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Yep, hi, Michelle and Avisa. It's good to see you guys. So like Michelle, I'm kind of an odd duck or an outlier on your demographics there. I am a 45-year-old second career into cyber, and I'm also doing cybersecurity policy. I spent a long time working on Capitol Hill at the Library of Congress and working on cybersecurity issues for Congress, and I'm now doing my PhD in cybersecurity policy and Congress and legislation on cyber issues. I got interested in the NCL through the Women in Cybersecurity group. I've heard it said WISIS or WISIS. I actually got a complimentary game pass through them and participated in all 3 rounds of the competition, and it was super exciting. And it was important to me because at a certain point in your learning about cyber policy, if you're not a computer science person, there is a point where the rubber meets the road and you need to invest time in learning some of the technical foundations and technical aspects of what's actually happening. And so that was my prompt for getting into it. And the NCL was a terrific way to kind of get into that. I'd had some classes, tech for policy nerds and stuff like that, and policy and law for cyber people and whatnot. But I hadn't really had a chance to get my hands in the guts of it. And so that's what this was perfect for. And I would say that this spring was my first competition, but I have participated in a couple of other capture the flag events since then, and it was great preparation for that. Because of my field, NCL was not incorporated into my classwork, which is to be expected. But there certainly are a lot of computer folks or computer science folks and cyber folks at UT Austin, where I'm going to school. And I've been really good friends with them, and I'm in actually a program that is an interdisciplinary program, and it's a Cyber Fellows program that brings together individuals who are studying social science aspects and the technical aspects of cybersecurity to give people kind of the opportunity to kind of cross-pollinate. And so I would encourage coaches and professors from other schools to maybe look outside your traditional lanes for students who might want to participate but aren't in kind of the traditional tracks for that. Because I bet you all have a lot of folks who are really interested in it but have no idea, if they're not in computer science class or in that track or in that school, how they're going to get there. And so I think that might be one way that would be, that you could attract more students into participating, and particularly women who, still tend to not be as represented in the sciences, but are more represented in like social sciences and other types of classes. In terms of like what was really great about it, I just echo what Abisa and Michelle said. That it was great meeting people. And like, I knew that Michelle was a lawyer because she mentioned it during our thing, because our team actually had a Discord that we ran during the challenge, and that's how we shared information and communicated and checked our answers and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really great platform for that. But I think also to be really clear about folks that like, if you at your school, if you have a team of like 5 or 6 people, but you have 7 people who want to play, help them figure out the board where you post up, encourage them to post their name up and their score from the individual game and say, this is who I am, these are my skills, I'm looking to be on a team that's just looking to play, to have fun, I'm looking to learn with folks, because especially if they're new, they might not want to be on a hyper competitive team, right? Because they don't want to have that pressure. So do take the time to talk them through the different options that might be out there. I mean, we happen to do super well. It was amazing. Yeah, it was great. And I totally surprised myself my performance in the individual thing. And my, contribution to the team was more than I thought it was going to be. And it was just really great. So yeah, if I could leave you with 2 takeaways, it would be encourage folks from outside the traditional cyber lanes, like where you normally recruit people from. And then don't worry so much about having like prepackaged teams, but encourage folks to go use that Slack channel and post up like, this is who I am, this is what I'm looking for. That's how I found these guys. And it turned out really great. So thanks.
That's great. That's fantastic. What a wonderful story from the entire team. So why don't we move on now to the next group, and Skip Berry is here. He introduced us to these 4 young ladies from Riverside City College. I think they're all Riverside. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So, Skip, tell us about your position and how you came upon NCL, and maybe give us an introduction to your players.
Yeah, real, I'll try to make this quick because I want to give them time to talk. But I don't know, way back early, we've had a cybersecurity club for a long time, mostly male, right? An occasional female. And in my classes, I noticed that I would have a class of 30 to 40 students and 1 female, right? And so it became a passion of mine to try to figure out how do I bridge that gap? How do we change these statistics? And so we've made a concerted effort to try to make sure we're engaging young women to make sure that they know that this is a career path for them. And I'll let the women that are here talk about our WSIS chapter and other things that we've done. But we've seen our growth We're still not where we want to be, but we are seeing, a third of the class at this point be young women instead of that one or two students, right? And so we're pretty excited about that. And I will say that two of the young ladies that are here today, Haley and Sam, are both presidents of Cybersecurity Club and the WSIS Club on campus. Unfortunately, Emily couldn't make it today, and so we won't hear from her today unless she happens to jump in at the last minute. But I'm going to turn it over to these young ladies to let them talk about why they're here, what works for them, and hopefully give us some advice on what to do better, right? How we can do this better.
Great. So should we start out in order with Haley, or who wants to go first?
I can go. Unfortunately, my camera is broken at the moment. So the way I got started with NCL is I was part of the cybersecurity club, and they were giving away tokens, and I decided to give it a try. I first had gotten interested in cybersecurity through Cisco, and I had a teacher, Professor Craig, who really pushed me to explore it more. And then Professor Skip Berry also pushed me to explore it more, and really appreciative of that. But with NCL, as soon as I entered, I learned a lot of skills I didn't know before, and it gave me a really good idea of what I wanted to pursue, what I was interested in. Before, I had taken some programming classes, but I wasn't even sure what direction I was going in. And then once I started doing cybersecurity and then NCL, it really put it in perspective for me, what I want. And, I really started learning how important cybersecurity is. For the other competitions, we did the SoCal Cyber Cup. That was a lot of fun. That was different. I had never done a red team versus blue team before. So that was a great experience. As far as challenges go, it is, I wouldn't say intimidating, I would say disconcerting when you're one of the few women in the class, but I've noticed that it's growing. In SoCal Cyber Cup, what I really liked to see was the younger teams. There was a lot more girls on those teams. And that was a great thing to see. It seems like our culture is slowly changing to where more women are joining this field, and I'm hoping it keeps up. So that challenge, I'm hoping goes away soon. As far as NCL being integrated into our classwork, as we learn cybersecurity, we are learning some of the skills. We use different softwares. Different programming classes are offered as well when it comes to the software side of the challenges. We can learn Python, we can learn C++, we can learn Java. As far as advice, I would say representation really, really matters. I believe her name was Meredith, when Meredith was talking about norms and how we don't exactly imagine a woman in the role. Our first image is that of a man. And if I were to take that a step forward, we usually imagine an older white man, but we need to change that image. We need to see it as everybody can do this job. And I think that even in the little things, when we talk about it, we should put other people in this role. And we should talk more about this representation. And in that video, I did notice that there was representation of a girl and a person of color, which was great. And I think we need more of that. We need to show that this is the norm now. As far as my future career goals, I was thinking about possibly going and working for a private company, but also hoping to teach, because I think teaching is the best way to spread awareness.
Fantastic. And a big shout out to Chris Simpson, who is here from SoCal. So that's it's wonderful to hear that was helpful to you as well. All right, who's next?
My name is Sam Lee. I'm from RCC. I first got interested in cybersecurity through our professor, Skip Berry. And I was introduced to Ncl through him as well, just to try it. I was actually really leery about trying it just because I didn't have any experience at all. But he said, no, it's okay. You don't have to know anything. Just try it. Just see how much you can do. And then you can go from there. And then each time you do it, you're going to learn more. And then you'll be able to go further and further. I have done Ncl for the 3 seasons so far now. And he's absolutely right. Each time I've done it, I just get a little further, a little better. And just you learn things that you didn't know the time before. I have tried other competitions prior. I think it's Cyber Start America. Different, definitely different. Challenges as far as along the way, you run into all sorts of challenges, I guess. One thing that I found helpful was some of our coursework. It does reflect a lot of what's kind of integrated into Ncl. So that really helped. Just looking back, we even have an environment NetLab that we use that we've kind of used virtual machines and then just setting up Kali and using that in order to kind of help with all of that, which is really handy. And then we do have our, I'm a part of WESIS, and our clubs definitely, we use a lot of our club time to kind of reinforce some of the things that are like some of the things that Ncl goes over in the challenges, especially in the gymnasium. And that helps. It helps people to learn from each other. And we go over the different challenges or similar types of challenges. And that really helps out. As far as advice for coaches and instructors, definitely just encourage and push female students, as well as, I mean, students in general. But I think a lot of us are intimidated to try it, especially since there's so much of the population is, or of the players are male. And so we are reluctant. But it seems like more of the male counterparts, they come out strong just because they're a little more, I guess, versed in the hardware side. And it makes them seem like they know so much more. But just, I guess, encourage them anyway to just let them know that, oh, that's not everything, and there's more to know than that. And then just, I guess, that's about it.
And what do you want to do with
future goals.
all this knowledge that you're getting?
I currently work for RCC. I am a full-time employee now. I just got hired. And I work for the CTE, K through 12 and CTE department. And I really love it here. So I hope in the future I continue to get to work here.
Oh, wonderful. That's a great story.
Thank you.
And then I think we're finishing off with Kyla.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
My name is Kyla Smith. I'm a student at Riverside City College as well. I first found out about the Ncl from my professor, Mr. Skip Berry. I was very green. I've only done 2 seasons, and I was really intimidated that my performance would reflect well in the college, or that I just wouldn't do well in general. But he, like Sam explained too, he motivated me to just give it a shot and don't compare your performance to everyone else's. Use every consecutive season to kind of reflect and see how much you've grown. And so when I kind of shifted my perspective that, just see how well I can do. This is my experience, my journey. Then it was a lot easier to just, okay, to try it out. I haven't tried any other competitions before. Some of the challenges that I encountered along the way, I think initially not knowing the tools, that was a little intimidating, but I learned so much in the gymnasium. And then another thing was when it came time to teams coming along or creating a team, joining a team, I wasn't part of the cybersecurity club, so I wasn't really familiar with my peers. And with the pandemic, everyone's kind of working from home. But this last season, Haley was amazing. I didn't have a team and I reached out to her, and I was really worried. I'm like, I'm sure she's so much, her skill level's got to way surpass mine, but she was so nice to join a team with me. And that was a really wonderful experience to see someone who's more advanced than I am. And some of the challenges where I can actually see she's at the command line interface just hammering away. And that was inspiring to see someone else, I can't wait. And I even told her, like, I can't wait to be at your level. But that was a really great experience. It's not, and as far as the NCL being integrated into the classwork, it wasn't necessarily integrated, but it was always talked about. And a lot of what I'm learning in the classroom, I was able to apply those skills in NCL, and they've helped both ways. I'm learning things in NCL that I'm now reading about in my classwork. Advice for instructors and coaches. I think when it comes to cybersecurity, like everyone's touched on today, as a female, it's intimidating, period. As an older female like myself and as a few others making a career change, it's intimidating because I feel like, everyone else in the field, it's probably male, or they have 10, 15 years on me by the time I join it. So I think if you start talking to the younger generations, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. It was disconnecting and connecting. I think if we start talking to the younger generations, like RCC, they talk to Girl Scout troops in our community. And I think that's really amazing. They're starting to connect with them young and show them that cybersecurity is a possible career path. And they're learning from volunteer women from the college students. And so they're seeing themselves also represented in this career path. So they can see, like, this is an option for you. And we're helping them get their cyber badges. And it's so cool. We do it in a really fun and interactive way. We do Jeopardy, and just seeing them get the answers and get excited about it, it's so rewarding. And you feel like you're giving back to the next generation. So I think that's like a really great way if you can connect with your community like that and the younger generations. And then they're also involved with the Air Force Cyber Patriot Cyber Camps, which is just another way that, we're connecting with like the high school level students. And I think once these students see, like, okay, I am interested in this field, they can see that these colleges have pathways for them to follow, and then from there join the NCL. So I think just community outreach would be really nice. And maybe something that would be cool too would be to highlight successful women in the industry. I think it's all about representation and inclusiveness. And so for women to see themselves represented, it's just going to be really helpful. Like the promo video, that was awesome. There were women superheroes. It was so neat. As far as future career goals, I am hoping to join the digital forensics field. So I'm on that pathway, but that's it.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we actually did have at least one question that I saw from Lynn Warren. Lynn, do you want to speak up?
I will attempt. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So my question was specifically, as a female instructor and coach, I am frequently asked by special interest groups to lead girls only clubs, as opposed to, which I've mostly done, is co-ed. And so I do have a decent mix, about half and half in all of my groups for cyber and in CompTIA and other classes. But my curiosity is, does anyone feel that there's a distinct benefit to have a girls only club?
Feel free to jump in. I think the question is for all of you.
I would say yes, but I could see definitely how that would be beneficial after working with like Michelle and Jen, like being able to like have the girls in the team. But I feel like for us, it was definitely a different experience because my coach was a female. So even though we were co-ed, it really didn't make a difference. I feel like the kind of like the platform that Terry set and how she's helped us along the way is super encouraging regardless. So in my opinion, I would say yes, but I feel like there's also different ways to incorporate it even when it is co-ed. So you feel more included because you do have to work with everybody at the end of the day. So it's great to kind of like have both sides, kind of like work with both sides. So like get the female's perspective, but also learn how to also work with the males in your team because they are very helpful. I've been lucky enough to where all the males in our like cyber club have been kind of like my mentors. So they've helped me a lot.
Yeah, and I should
Great.
say that our team, well, Michelle and Abisa and I were on the same team. The rest of the team was all guys. It was 4 guys. So, you know, I can see benefits either way, and it probably depends on what the purpose of the club would be, you know, because I agree with what Abisa said. It sounds great, but in the, you know, in the job world and whatnot, you're going to have to work with everybody and be in environments with everybody. And so I think if you were going to do that, you would want to have specific purpose beyond just getting people interested in cyber.
I think it would be great to have both on a campus. Like everybody was saying, there's definitely benefits. I mean, it's with the co-ed clubs, it's more representative of the real world, but with my particular school, we only have a co-ed club, and so I feel excluded from a lot of things, and I feel like with a women-focused group, there would be more of an emphasis on collaboration, and you know, a rising tide lifts all ships. We're all in this together, everybody collaborating to try and find jobs. I just don't think that that's the mindset, at least of my group at my school. So yes, in some environments, it would definitely be a good idea to have a female focus group. I would love to see that at my school.
Yeah, I
And
feel like
Sam, you had something?
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I feel like it definitely does make a difference, and it we're lucky enough, RCCs, we're lucky enough that to have a co-ed club as well as just a female focused club, and it does make such a difference. It allows you kind of a safe place to be able to talk about more female related aspects of the career field. For instance, a lot of some of our club meetings would be about the struggles that we would go through during a cyber related job opportunity or job interview. The questions that males are not asked, the types of struggles that you face, the different types of questions you'd come up against, things like that. As well as other female in the industry related subjects. It really does make a difference. It allows you to come out of your shell and really just be able to kind of join forces and be able to like kind of share ideas and see the different points of view that other people, like other females within the industry has, and it makes such a difference.
Thank you for that. I think, so we are at 5 minutes
Can I say
of.
something real quick, Tally?
Sure.
Real fast. And
Yeah.
Michelle, you in chat, Michelle just posted something. So discussions on imposter syndrome and those types of things are absolutely critical. But I want to say, just like with NCL, a lot of people think it's only if you have skills. There's a misunderstanding about WSIS as well. Our WSIS club is not just for women. It is women focused, but we actually have a male member that's a member of that club. And so it's open to be co-ed. It's just that it has a different focus in that club.
Thank you for that. Costas, did you have something you wanted to jump in on?
No, it's just agreeing with Deborah on her chat.
Okay, great. So we have only 4 minutes left in the hour. I don't want to take you over. And this was just so important for us to listen to and so wonderful. I didn't want to stop the conversation. But we just have a couple of other things that we wanted to touch on. And what we'll do is we'll take one of them to the next meeting, actually, just to make sure that you all are aware that registration opens on August 23rd. And we do have for everybody a student flyer, a coach's flyer, so that you can pass the word along, make sure that everybody knows about NCL and is aware that the fall season is coming up, and the gym will be open for that. So also, if you go to the website, you can always find this recordings of past coaches calls and also the upcoming the meeting that you can register for. And the next meeting will be in, and this is our coaches committee. I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge them, and also David Zychek, who is our new commissioner, is on the call. But the next coaches call will be July 26th. Now, the parts that we didn't talk about yet today, one is about incorporating NCL into your classroom syllabus or curriculum. I'd like to take that discussion to the next month. But Franz, did you have anything that you wanted to quickly say about that? And then also we'll talk about the purchase order process, which we do need to get into a little bit more detail about, and we'll do that in the July phone call. But Franz, do you have anything that you want to quickly say before we sign off?
Yeah, so with regards to integrating NCL into the classroom, right now I think we mentioned this in the previous call, we're exploring how can we better assist instructors with providing the resources that they need to put together, after school program or integrated as part of the classroom. And would love to get any feedback about any challenges that any of the coaches on this call have had and how they overcome them, and ways that we can help, reduce those barriers for others. And when it comes to the purchase order process, that's just a quick note that basically responsibility for payments is switching from NCL Inc. to Skyline Inc. And so if your school will be needing to use a purchase order process and you've done that in the past, that we might need to go through and update the vendor information to go through that process. And so please reach out to us if that's something that you want to do is go through the purchase order. And so we can update that information. So we'll have more information about that next call. And then we're going to have, I think, a follow-up call for specifically tied to people who do purchase orders to answer any specific questions there.
All right, so we are just about a minute before. Any last thoughts before we sign off?
I'm sorry, I had a question. Again, this was great hearing all the testimonials and stuff from the players. I am a high school teacher who is looking to start a program. Doesn't exist there. I just finished my first year, so during my second year, I want to implement some sort of a cyber defense team, probably be co-ed, but if there's enough females, have an all-girls team. How can I get some information, or who can I talk to at NCL to help me with getting something like that started?
I think I would love to put you in touch with a couple of our coaches committee members. Alan Stubblefield is a high school instructor. Alan, you've got.
He just put something in the chat for me. I'm going to take a picture of his
yeah.
email.
I think it would be just wonderful to have even have a focus on high school in one of the upcoming calls. But Alan, do you have anything that you have to offer here?
Yeah, I can certainly help you with female clubs, NCL, cyber, all that stuff. Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out also to info@nationalcyberlead.org, and we can provide you with all sorts of resources to get you started.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining, and we will see you next month, I hope. Have a really good summer.